The Boy and the Heron is most likely the last Studio Ghibli film, and it was the epitome of Hayao Miyazaki's work. He pulled references from every other film that he has ever created, like the evil sludge from Princess Mononoke, and he delivered an instant classic Ghibli film, true to its nature of symbolism, beautifully hand-drawn animation, and the same old plot that he has told a million times before. Look, I'm not here to crap on his work, but I will say I'm simply not a fan of Miyazaki's storytelling. I only enjoy seeing a tale told once, and I definitely don't like the same story retold with a different skin. This movie was basically Spirited Away, but with a boy instead of a girl as the main character. Let's get into The Boy and the Heron to see why I think it failed as something unique and interesting, but it was just as good, if not better, than all other Ghibli films. This anime movie started off with a simple but heart-wrenching premise. The mother of Mahito, the main character, dies in a fire during the war. So Mahito's father moves them to the countryside with his new wife, who is his deceased wife's sister. Now that is anime for you. She gets pregnant, and so Mahito ends up having to retrieve her from this ancient and mystical tower that has drawn her in with the appeal of a safe delivery for her baby. The whole story is Mahito going on a journey in order to come to terms with his mother's death. He meets tons of people along the way, and they each help him dissect and understand more about life and death. While this plot is eerily similar to Spirited Away, the characters and creatures are vastly different enough to warrant a solid score on my scale of movie quality. The animation was breathtaking, as always, and the imagery and symbolism was prevalent and welcomed. However, when you know exactly what will happen, because Miyazaki's movies are basically the same when it comes to the plot, I didn't really enjoy the movie itself. It felt boring and unexplained. For example, Mahito's mother is in this tower, right? But she is her past childhood self. And do we get any sort of reconciliation with this past form of Mahito's mom, aka Hime, and Mahito himself? No. We get one sentence at the end where she says she is proud of him. Okay. Mahito ends up finding his new mommy, and they get out of the falling tower. Then the movie just ends. The entire time, they were just introducing multiple strange characters and whimsical scenery with some dialogue thrown into it. Now, let's focus on some good parts though. The scenes that took time to showcase the absolute peak of hand-drawn animation were unrivaled in beauty. There was this one moment where the moon shone through the clouds, and it was just an incredible sight to behold. The heavenly body illuminating the endless sea reflected via a sparkle in Mahito's eye. It was beyond impressive, and that's what makes Ghibli films so dang popular. That part of the movie was very consistent, and I have no gripe with the artwork. I never hated his well-crafted vistas. It's just, I don't really think this movie had much of a meaningful plot. There were a lot of symbols, sure, like the reference to poop everywhere in the film. Literally, the birds poop all over things, and it is meant to symbolize nature being raw and almost disgusting, but natural. Miyazaki thinks that war and bloodshed are both unnecessary, but he realizes and depicts that nature that is gruesome pretty much all the time. A lion devours a zebra. Every animal, including humans, defecate. Contemplating these topics and themes is worthwhile. I fully understand that, but it just seems like he works backwards sometimes. Miyazaki wants to create these things that are really strange, and he just throws them into a story that is vaguely about the coming of age of a boy or a girl, and basically how bad war is. I'm not saying this was a bad movie though. There are objectively high quality things about it. The animation, the character designs, the music, the clever symbolism, and even the English dub was a star-studded cast, which I loved. However, I had a major issue with the plot. I don't think that it made much sense, and it was a little boring and hugely predictable. Ultimately, he does make movies for kids, so the narrative doesn't have to be exactly perfect because the characters are wacky and there are cool looking scenes too. It's a fine movie. If you're a fan of Ghibli films, you will absolutely love this one. But if you are more of a Ghibli dabbler like myself, then you will not enjoy watching this one from start to finish. You will see some interesting and beautiful scenes, but you won't like the story. If I had to give The Boy and the Heron a rating, I would say it is a 5 out of 10. It's just simply decent.